Well, look, folks, the curtain is falling. And if you're still sitting back, scratching your head, trying to make heads or tails of this whole thing, let me paint the picture clearly here. You're seeing big movements in the streets, and you have ever since what Michael Brown, when it comes to these Black Lives Matter protesters. We've exposed that George Soros, the man that has backed the chaos all across the globe in many different countries, including here, had spent $33 million of his own cash to spark that chaos in Ferguson. That is known. If you want to look past that and try to ignore that, you're either working for them or you're ignorant. Or you really don't care about what's going on out here. To try to fix the problem and get to the bottom of it, you have to know who you're fighting against. You have to know your enemy. And when they're hiding behind several different outlets, several different companies, several different NGOs, and all this money's being filtered through all these different places, it's hard to keep track and to bust these guys, but we've done it. Now, there's two sides to every coin. We know that they're pushing these protests out in the street, but let me say something. We have got to get together real protests. We need real protesters that are getting up off their tail, exiting their house, hitting the streets with friends and family, and are doing it from their heart, not because Soros and companies waving a check in front of you. So they have that advantage. You need to know that right out the gate. Now, we've exposed that these guys are relentless and that they're also planning to cause more chaos here in the future. Cleveland is on the radar. I'm going to be discussing that in another video that's going to be very important. We've also shown how this individual that was involved with the whole Trump rally, charging the stage, is an actor. All these things, just red flags when it comes to the events that are going down. So when we look at cops in the streets and we look at all these incidents, what's a way that they can fuel the whole process? Imagine Soros has his whole group of guys on the ground, paid, and they'll do whatever they're being told, sitting there waiting. And then on the other side, you have the cops that are basically being told that they can do whatever they want. There's going to be no repercussions. We've seen what happened in the Carolinas, where the man was shot in the back as he was running away from police, all because the cop was lazy and did not want to chase after him, and then tried to throw something down on the ground next to him. That was Walter Scott. They just constantly do this stuff, and then why do they let the police get away with these things? Why? Isn't it clear to you now that it is literally the fuel that they're throwing on the fire? And if it's not enough to get out there and tick some people off that are on the ground, guess what? They're going to make sure that they have a paid pack of protesters on the ground that are going to do something if the rest of the people do not want to. So little do the paid protesters know on the ground that the police opposition on the other side is just as controlled. Little do most of the police force, besides the upper ranks, know that the protesters on the ground are being paid and backed, and that they're being driven head on toward one another, and both sides so stupid they can't even figure it out. That's right. And you wonder why you're sitting there scratching your head. It's like, I don't understand this and that. It's because you're being played by the same people at the top. You're being played by the same Koch brothers, Rupert Murdoch, George Soros and company that has been playing the shenanigans the whole time. Now, if you don't get hip to it, it's going to come to a city near you. And they're going to continue this. And the reason that I think that this connects in with the whole Trump thing is because it's inciting the same anger. It's ticking people off. They have created a divide. That is the motto of these people. Chaos. Order out of chaos is their motto, and you're seeing it. So, from here on out, when you're wondering why people are ticked off and you need some solid numbers, well, here you go. Okay? When you have police avoiding federal civil rights charges in 96% of the cases, guys, over the past 20 years, man, those numbers should just be screaming at you, jumping off the page. They can cite whatever crappy reasons they want to. Fact is this, they're protecting them. And They're protecting them even when they're in the wrong, and very rarely do we see cops get punished. It almost takes them being caught on camera executing someone, and even then, it's hard to get it done. There's good cops out here. Good cops shouldn't have to worry about any of the repercussions of this if you're walking righteous. What you need to worry about is if you don't start checking your fellow officers and making them walk righteous, you're going to end up going down in the end too, because it's all going to turn to chaos. And you're going to fall a victim to it in the streets as well. And it's just what they want. While you're all fighting one another, they're laughing. And this is how they cause confusion, and you never see the light of day. You never get to see who's at the top pulling the strings. Well, to the death of me, I'm going to keep telling you all who's behind this. And it's pretty obvious that when you know that there's paid protesters in the streets, and you know on the other side of the coin that they're refusing, absolutely avoiding federal civil rights charges in 96% of the cases, that should speak for itself. It should show you there is a plan and a plot underway to make these things go down right in front of your face. So it's about accountability and holding these people responsible. And until some of you get up off your ass out there and get up and do something about it, nothing's ever going to get done. You're going to watch your whole country go down the tubes because you think that some other group is going to hit the streets and win the battle for you. Wrong. Half these groups are paid protesters working for the enemy. And it's on you to get the real cats in the streets to make the change. You have got to be the change that you seek. And remember, the power is in your numbers. The power is in the people and politics we address. It's been Dabu 7.